Narito na ang kwentuhan tungkol sa bahay, negosyo at iba pa. Kasama ang inyong Seeing Realtor, Jen Co.
Hi, good evening everybody. It's Thursday once again. This is your Ate Jen Ko for Bahay, Negosyo at Iba Pa. And tonight, basically mag-update lang tayo and at the same time, we're just gonna tackle some questionnaires that a lot of people are asking me, of course, being a realtor. And tonight, the person who's gonna help me answers you guys' question is none other than my Manang Nancy, also from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Nevada. Manang Nancy Tolentino, hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Hello,
you
hello.
again. Thank you again. So right now, Manang, we're just going to talk about our business because a lot of people are still having misconception on using a realtor or a buy and then buying a house. So how long have you, what are your one of the major experience na naging problem mo when with your clients before?
I think for the first-time home buyers, I think there's misconception. It's some of them they think that it's very easy, or some of them think that it's just going to the store and buying something and then they can just return it later on, or they can change their mind. It's very emotional. A lot of them are very emotional. And so, some of them, they think that, it's just easy to buy a house. I can also do my credit. I can also buy a car while I'm buying a house, just things like that. They just, how do you say that? They're just, sometimes they just don't take it seriously. They think that you can just go and buy one and then, not to think about their credit being affected, while they can go and buy like a refrigerator or some kind of TV, or if they finance it, things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the people, they think kasi na, and also most of the people, they think na dahil nakabili sila ng car, they can go ahead and buy a house. It's totally different type of requirements pag-buy ng house and pag-buy ng car. One instance is sa pagbili ng bahay, there's a so-called debt-to-income ratio, meaning their income or the target mortgage payment, including all the expenses, is not supposed to go over 45% of what they make. So, doon nagkakaroon ng problem. And then at the same time, akala nila, I already in contract, once they sign a contract and then the offer got accepted, they think, the house is mine. And, hindi yun ang sitwasyon, because most of the time, I even tell my clients, there's a couple of times, unfortunately, medyo hindi siguro na intindihan nung kliyente na, we are in contract, but make sure you don't change anything per se. Don't open another an account, any account at all. Don't buy anything that will raise your debt, because the debt to income ratio will take effect again. And then at the same time, wag muna kayong mag-schedule. That's one more thing. Mag-schedule ng move out, because anything could happen. There's a due diligence for everything. May due diligence for backing out in the contract, even though you went in. There's due diligence for the loan. There's due diligence for the repair and everything. So there's a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons why we emphasize on people getting a realtor when they're trying to purchase a home, to protect them, diba? Yeah. Yun ang mga nagiging problema.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to have someone to help you, to guide you, especially even if you know it. Even if you purchased a home 15 years ago or 10 years ago, the process then and the process now, sometimes it may be the same, but there's a lot of regulations that it changes. So it's always good to have someone to guide you. Like for example, yung mga clients natin na, they're, going to the brand new homes, and they thought that, talking to that realtor over there, they will actually, they think that they're working on their behalf. Maybe so, but I think most of those agents are working, on behalf of the builder, isn't it? So
Yes.
sometimes magkakaproblema tayo doon sa yung ibang mga clients na they're going that direction, if they didn't understand what they're signing, they tend to have an issue later on, yung mga fine print ba na hindi nila nababasa or something like that. So I'm sure you probably have quite a few of those clients that went through that and have some issues, right?
I got 3 home buyers literally last year that came to me crying and asking for my help, because what happened was they went into a builder and for some odd reason, not that, they already pick out everything. They even develop or over pick yung mga nila, what you call this, manang they upgraded the upgrades.
Yes, of
the
course.
upgrades is more than what what they should have done, kasi di ba merong may rules yan because if they over upgrade, it won't appraised even though it's a brand new home. So basically what happened was they did that over 40,000-50,000 more than they should, and now they're asking. So what happened is, if it got appraised at 300,000, this everybody should listen to this really seriously. If the house got appraised for 300,000, and because masyadong upgraded yung house more than it should, then it went 350,000. Basically, the contract is, unless you have 50,000 cash laying somewhere and you can pay for the difference, then you won't be able you won't be able to buy the house. So what happened, you fall, the contract will fall off, hindi matutuloy. And then what will happen, your earnest money together with the deposit for the upgrades, let's say 20%,
30%,
20%, 30% of the upgrade, mawawala sa kanila. And they started going to me, Jen, I have to, kinuha nila yung pera namin, ayaw nilang sabi ko, that's one of the reason why we tell you to go ahead and get a realtor, because hindi naman nila babasahin sa inyo every single line na nandoon sa kontrata nila, and then people just normally, of course, sa kapal nun, sa sobrang liit na mga they just sign an initial thinking that it is okay, and that's usually not the case. Some of them, so meaning one more note on that. So your house is only appraised at 300,000. Let's say meron kang pera sa 401k, hinugot mo yung pera mo sa 401k, and if you are not even entitled to that 401k yet, may penalty and everything, not counting, ibig sabihin, your house is underwater already. Ibig sabihin, binili mo yon, lugi ka na agad ng 50,000. So kung ang market, let's say, tumaas ang value ng bahay around that surrounding, $20,000. You're still underwater 30,000 because you paid 350,000 for it. So paano na lang yan kung it'll take 2, 3, 4 years bago umakyat ang value ng bahay mo ng 350,000. Ano nangyari? Diba? That's a lot of things to consider that people don't know. They don't know. Yun ang isang problema. Diba?
Yeah, and to piggyback to what you said, yung on top of that, if someone took money out of your 401k, I'm not a CPA or anything like that, but if you're not at age, of course there's a penalty, right? And it depends on your income bracket at that time. Let's say, for example, you're at a high income bracket and you use that. I mean, ang taas na ng tax mo na ibabayaran mo sa hinram mo sa sarili mong pera. So really, it's not really a good idea to,
Mm-hmm.
when you go into a brand new home, you're not represented, and these people out there, they're not going to tell you that, hey, you know what, this is what's going to happen, and they're not going to explain to you now, if it doesn't appraise, then you have to come up with all this money. Then what then? I mean, then you
Mm-hmm.
realize later on na mukha yatang, yeah, not only that you're underwater, I mean, talagang underwater ka na nga, tapos you also have like a tax problem too. So that you have to
Mm-hmm.
pay Uncle Sam. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. So really emphasize that, get someone to represent you when you go to brand new home, and, to explain all
Or
these things.
or buying a house for that matter. And
Right,
we
exactly.
we wanna let people know to remind people, yes, you hired us to represent you, but
Mm-hmm.
technically you are not paying us
Yes,
to represent you. The seller
exactly.
always pays for the commission of the buyer. So
Right.
yun ang regulation. So basically, you're hiring us for literally free, to help
Yes,
you.
exactly. To
'Di ba?
help you. So why
So,
not?
why
I
not?
mean,
Why not, 'di
right.
ba? Yun
Yeah.
ang misconception.
It's a
Akala
plus. It's
nila,
a
oh my
win-win.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, akala nila, oh my God, pag kumuha ako ng realtor, babayaran ko pa yung commission ng realtor. That is not the case.
That's
Everybody, you
true.
got to remember the seller is the one who's paying for the commission. And that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
reason too why some people wanted to do a FISBO for sale by owner only.
Right.
That is
Yep.
because the seller doesn't want to pay the commission of his or her realtor, and also
Right.
the commission of the buyer's realtor. But
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing. Again, the buyer is not gonna be protected because the seller will dictate what he or she wants in the contract. But
Mm-hmm.
if per se, especially if you have if you're a cash buyer, and you can negotiate. You can
Right.
negotiate more. I mean, because usually cash buyer we close what 7 to 10 days. You know,
Right. Or
so
sometimes
it's over.
sooner.
Yes, so
Right.
sometimes it's sooner if all the ducks are in a row.
Right.
That's what they call
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
We close sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's one of the thing that we have to remind people. And they
Mm-hmm.
also some of the question they ask me, or they're asking us, is what are the requirements on trying to purchase a house. We'll go step by step. Of course, most of this answer are like from the lender side, but we have an
Right.
idea.
Of
Of course,
course.
we're not a lender, but we've been
Yeah.
dealing with this situation for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give you some of our input, and of course, it's still case by case basis, so it's not
Right.
for everybody. But usually, it's about 2 years on the job, the same
Mm-hmm.
line of business or the same line of job, unless
Mm-hmm.
you own a business, or unless you have a contract. Per se, you just graduated as a nurse or as a educator and
As a
everything like that.
doctor. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what will happen is the lender will ask for a letter from the
Mm-hmm.
HR saying that yes, they hired you for a full-time position. These are the hours, and this
Mm-hmm.
is how much you're gonna make. Then some of the lenders will take that into consideration. So it's not always
Mm-hmm.
the same thing what you hear, because some of them, ate, they said, hindi, I cannot buy a house because I changed job, and well, what is your job before and what's your job now? And then basically she actually made her life better. Before
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nasa casino siya, and
Mm-hmm.
then she went to school while she's working to be an
Right.
educator, be a teacher. So actually it's going to be more stable job
Right.
for my client. Then at the same time, there's also a program that will help the teachers to buy a house, which is about 8,000 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So each qualification, each person is different, depending on their
Mm-hmm.
situation. And then some
Exactly.
people, yeah, and some people think that, oh, you have to have a perfect credit score or a high score. That is also not the case. I've seen it in the past that somebody has a 580 credit score. Okay, this is the downfall on that one. Of course,
Right.
your interest rate is going to be higher because your
Mm-hmm.
credit score is lower, right? But
Yes.
in this time right now that we hit the rock bottom interest of mid twos to high twos,
That's amazing.
if yeah, it's crazy, right? Even if your credit score is is less than the perfect what they say about 640
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
be qualified on no down payment, then maybe from 2.5 or high twos, your interest is probably going to be 4.5.
Yeah.
It's still not bad because that's the regular interest rate that people who bought homes 2 years ago.
Right.
So it's a win-win situation still. And of course, later on, once they bought the house, and then they go ahead and change the fix their credit in the long run, then they can refinance, and then they can lower it down again, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's the thing. So a lot you need to have a realtor to explain to you what you cannot do. And don't
Yes.
be discouraged. Don't be discouraged because
Mm-hmm.
right now it's cheaper to buy a house, believe it or not. It is.
Right.
You know, to
It's
be to
easier to buy a house than just to rent, actually. If you have
exactly.
the credit score, you have the job, and why rent? Just go with the investment. Because you get that would be a tax write off, and
Hmm.
you can will that to your kids. It's always a win-win when you invest in real estate. And
Yeah,
also
exactly.
you need also to remind like you mentioned something like if you purchase a home with not 2 years ago, and the interest rate was at a high fours or even a five. I mean, this is
Mm-hmm.
really the perfect time to refinance. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're working with your realtors, and like for example, I have a client that bought a house 2 years ago, and or a year and a half ago, in fact. And at that time, they ended up getting a high FICO score. I mean, not FICO score, but they have an interest rate. And I had to remind them and say, hey, it's time to refi this. And it's always good to have your realtor reminding you. Like for example, my client, I said, this is the perfect time for you to refinance, because you're in the high fives. Now you can get something for 15 years or 30 years for like what is it, Jen, like 2.5, or depending on the
Right
FICO score,
now,
of course.
well,
Yeah.
right now, I had a client about late last week that
Yeah.
has a 710 credit score, and his interest rate 2 years ago is 4.875, and now we got it refied for 2.875. And
Oh,
so that
wow.
my client actually saved around $350 a month
That is a
in
car payment.
payments. That is a
Right.
car payment. That is a car payment. And again, that's important when you have a realtor working with you. Well, I guess
Hmm.
I mean, you cannot expect the realtor to do all of this, but
That's true.
some
Right.
realtor, like we know us. I mean, we
Yeah.
constantly like, reminding our clients if it's going to benefit them. Um,
Right.
that we remind them of that savings, of what's going on in the market. I had one client I have one friend um, that has an employee and was about to get repoed. The house is about to get repoed. And I said, why? Why? I mean, when did you buy the house and everything? After checking on the history and all the records and everything, she has
Hmm.
$93,000 in equity. So why
Wow.
would you throw that away?
Away. Yeah.
Right? I know, like right now it's a tough time. So listen, guys, if you are having a tough time right now, and if you're about to lose your house, when I know right now there's a ordinance that they cannot repo the house and things like that, but just in case you're going to have a problem later on and you have equity, or even if you don't know if you have equity, if
Hmm.
you've been there, talk to a realtor that so that
Right.
they can help you, we can help you to see if you have equity, and maybe just sell the house, save your credit, still have equity, and then when you're okay again, then go ahead and you can buy a house again. So those are
Hmm.
some of the things that people don't realize, that services that we offer to the to the client, to the people, because it's not just a shoe that you go, "Oh, okay, I don't want the shoe anymore, or I don't care about the shoe,
Right.
and I throw it away. Oh, the bag, I can. This is your life. This is your life savings. This is the
Mm-hmm.
American dreams for us, who came here, from another country, that ultimately to have a house here in the United States. So
Right.
you need to protect that. There's no
Right.
harm on asking. We're not, realtors are not going to charge you if you have a question. Just ask. No harm on asking. What you don't know, is not going to help you or to save you, or if we don't know the problem, then we won't be able to help you. So in
Right.
that case, what happened is we were able to save the house, their
Mm-hmm.
credit, and then they end up having extra money, and now they're ready to buy a house again. So those are simple conversation that you can have with a licensed realtor, so that they can give some input. If we don't know, if the realtor is new, don't worry about it. They can always ask the broker. That's one
Mm-hmm.
of good thing about being a member of being in a good brokerage, because more
Mm-hmm.
experience, more things that they can advise you and things like that. What other
Right.
problems that you saw over the years that you're being a realtor, Manang? Ano pa yung mga ibang mga situation na nakita mo before o
Well,
na-experience mo?
I think a lot of it is kagaya ng mga yeah, let's talk about yung yung kung minsan nasa contract na tayo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes yung mga natin, mga clients natin, they don't understand the yung process ng yung home inspection. Like if
Yes.
you're on the buyer side and
Mm-hmm.
versus on the selling side, sometimes yung mga sa buyer side, yung hindi nila naintindihan na pag nakita nila yung home inspection report, uy, ang dami namang sira dito sa bahay na to. Is it worth it? So sometimes a lot of them, they panic and they say, oh my goodness, is it what the house I'm buying? There's so many things that listed. So they, some inexperienced na mga agent, because I've been on both sides, on the selling side, on the buying side. When I was on the buying side, I usually tell my client, I said, anything that is cosmetic, let's not ask. Especially if you really like that house that you want to buy, just pinpoint the one that you think that it's it costs a lot of money. And sometimes it helps also when you know somebody that is a handyman, and just say, or licensed handyman, and say, hey, how much you think this will cost? And then you can just actually guide it from there and say, hey, do I want to ask this for the seller to fix? Or things like that. So what do you those are the things that I find it kind of like a challenging for my clients, when they see the home inspection. And then when you are on the selling side, of course, when you see those things, that they're asking, said, hey, are you trying to buy a brand new home? I mean, especially if it's a resale home, and you're like, hey, I don't need to fix all that cosmetic stuff. Just the important stuff. It depends
Yeah.
also kung anong financing, right? I mean, kung if it's, hey, of course, there are more things that you need to fix para, para mapasalang
Ma-approve.
doon sa Right, exactly.
Yeah, the rule of thumb on fixing the stuff that are listed on the home inspection is, if it's gonna affect your way of living in the house, basically the plumbing, basically the HVAC, the air conditioner,
Right.
basically the the heater. Those are the
Right.
three major, or electrical. I'm sorry, and there's another one,
Mhm.
electrical. So if any of those are basically, there's a problem because of the safety, because of of living condition, then more likely the seller will fix it, because no matter what, they won't be able to sell it, because it's going to be required, especially for FHA, for people who are buying as their primary home, that they
Mhm.
need to fix it. So,
Right.
but anything like what you said, Mana, ay, ano ba yan, kulay dilaw ang ang kwarto. Yung
Right.
isa, green yung kwarto. Yung isa,
Mhm.
blue yung kwarto. It's just the paint. So
Right.
don't worry about that. You
Right.
know, oh, ang pangit nung ilaw and things like that. You have to consider, yeah, like you said, it's not a brand new home para, you go ahead and, you expect, a brand new home. Period. Hindi
Right.
pwedeng
Yeah.
pareho. Pareho.
Right.
Even in a brand
Exactly.
new home,
Yeah. So
sometimes you
the
buy a
expectation
stand-in.
sometimes,
Yeah.
right, exactly. We need to teach our clients sometimes,
Mhm.
or on the other end, also if the agents are not very reasonable what they're asking, kailangan talaga educate natin sila kung what's really
Mhm.
important.
And
Especially if you
hopefully they
really,
can
yeah,
listen.
right.
They will
That's the
listen.
one thing is you
Yeah.
can, you can tell them, but if they don't listen, then what do you do then? So
Yeah.
it's,
And
it's
it's also important that your agent will actually the licensed realtor that you gonna I'm sorry, I keep on saying licensed realtor or licensed sales agent because I've had an encounter in the past, believe it or not, that
mm,
she said, "Oh, she was what happened? Oh, she said that she's working with a licensed realtor, and later on, she of course, when there's a problem again, they go running to me, saying, "Oh." The one pala na nakuha ko, hindi pala siya licensed realtor. Nagre-refer lang siya. Something like that to that extent. And then it was a mess. And then sometimes I can fix it, but sometimes I can't, because there's some other things that, that's malamin buhol-buhol na sa ginawa nila that it's
you're
just
the
gonna be,
go-to realtor for everything. Kasi you can fix
no,
anything with marriage or
no, I
house,
think I just have a
anything,
lot of patience.
psychologist. Sometimes we wear a lot of hats. I
Exactly,
mean, we could
exactly.
be a chauffeur sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
or we could
One,
be a
yeah,
psychologist,
yeah.
or runner.
One also problem that people don't understand. Okay, if you got a divorce, this is somebody asked me,
Funny.
can I buy a house without my spouse knowing? Okay, or can I sell the house without my
That
spouse
my
knowing?
spouse knowing. Wow,
Yeah,
that
that's
happens.
they
That
tried.
happens.
They
Yeah.
tried. They tried. And believe me, there's I've heard some realtor can make magic just because they want to have that commission. You have to understand we are in a communal state, meaning whatever your spouse earn or have, whatever you have, the minute you sign the dotted line of marriage contract, it's now conjugal. Meaning, what is his is yours, what is hers is yours. So there's no way out about it. If for some reason the client lied and the realtor know about it or everything, fine, you go through, but the repercussion is not good. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you do the right thing. You work with a realtor that does the right thing. It's for your own protection. We don't pay a lot of money for our license and everything just to lose it because you want to cut corners, because it's not going to happen. It's not the right thing to do. That's basically what it is. I had a
Mm-hmm.
client that thought that he was divorced, and for goodness sakes, that was 35 years ago. Come to find out,
They forgot that they're
he
still married. Is that what you're saying?
they thought they filed it. Okay, they filed the divorce,
Mm-hmm.
but again, they filed the divorce and thinking, oh, I filed it. It should be, it's already granted and it should be done. And that was 35 years ago. Come to find out, he was not divorced. So what will happen? It's a big problem and everything. And God, and that's one more thing. It's important to have a title company working with you and a lending company that works with you, that knows what they're doing. Because if the lender and title company did their job from the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning that they went into contract, they would have find out that the person was still married. Then you have plenty more time to fix it or to do something about it, do it the right way, or extend the contract so that it can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
again, if you are not working with an experienced realtor, if you're not working with a team that basically, one of the person said to me, the one realtor said, "Oh, forget about that. I mean, I don't you don't want that headache. Just let it go. It's their
Right.
fault." I'm sorry, but I just cannot do that because that is a hard-earned money of the person, and they're already in their 60s. That I'm not gonna let them lose their earnest money and everything like that. But so that's just one thing that we're trying to emphasize is work with a realtor that has your best interest, that will protect you no matter what's the cost. But please listen to them because they know what they're doing and they're working for your best interest. You got to remember, if the if even if you are in contract and the contract fell off, we're not going to get
Mm-hmm.
paid. We did all that job for nothing. That's why not only we want you to have that house, of course we want to make sure that that's our livelihood. We don't sell a house, we don't get paid. It's
That's
not
true.
like a it's not like a regular job, right? So
Right.
that's one thing na gusto nating ipaalam sa kanila, na it's
Mm-hmm.
always important to protect them. And
Right.
each person's situation is different. Hindi yan cookie cutter na pag sinabi mo heart, heart. Pag sinabi mong star,
Yeah.
star.
Yeah.
Right? So just always ask and, consult.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
all. So,
And to also continue with that, hindi naman
uh-huh.
lahat ng ng trabaho natin challenging. I mean, there are
Uh-huh,
times
yeah.
na
Oh,
makakuha
yeah.
naman tayo ng client na so easy. Let me
Oh,
give you
yeah.
an example. Early this year, I have a client that we were looking at the house, and I ended up taking them to the wrong house. And they said, well, okay. So after I took them to the wrong house, because the houses like next to each other. One has a sign for sale and the other one doesn't. And my client says, well, I thought we're going to that house. No, that I thought the house was already sold. I said, no, that one's already in contract. This is the one that just came out. So I took them to that house, the wrong house, and um, they ended up spending there for 1 hour and a half and bonding with the seller. And guess what? We closed in 14 days. And I was just
Wow.
like, I know. So not always na meron tayong, it's challenging. I mean, there are times that it can just, like a snap of a finger, right? Kasi,
Mm-hmm.
especially if the buyer or your client knows what they want and they're very specific. And in this case, they're very specific what they want. Just happens that this is the house that that they it fits their criteria and more because they also bonded with the seller. So I guess like you said, it's not a cookie cutter. There are times that you have the most challenging situation, and then the next one you just like, oh my gosh, did I work that one? And all of a sudden you just close. So yeah, it's not
Mm-hmm.
always the same. So that's all
Yeah.
my what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I had an experience too that I have um a referral that are from Alaska. So they
Mm-hmm.
told me, "Okay, Jen, we want to look at some houses, but please don't expect anything because we're just here for 2 days." And literally they
Right,
were just here for 2 days. And so what
right.
happened? Okay, yeah, ate, it's okay. We can just look, whatever you want and things like that. And then ano nangyari? We look at several new build and a couple
Mm-hmm.
of resale. So they'll have the idea.
Right.
So they end up, I said, okay, thank you. Well, we'll let you know and things like that. And then, so we parted around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the first day they were here. 8 o'clock that night. Jen, let's go to the builder again tomorrow at 10 o'clock when they
Mhm.
open. Okay. Akala ko titignan lang ulit. They
Yeah.
just wanna,
Yung
alam mo naman,
model.
minsan,
Yeah.
yung model
Yeah.
say, oh, I wanna see that again. Okay. Next thing you know, they were picking the lot. I was like, ate,
Totoo ba to?
you know me, Manang. Takot ako sa karma. At saka, I want to make sure na they're not gonna go back to me na finors ko sila o pinilit ko sila.
Right.
So, I was like, ate,
Nakatulog ka ba? You know?
oh, sabi ko, ate, sigurado kayo na you wanna buy it? Don't you wanna think about it?
Right?
Yung sales agent sa site looking at me like, are you trying to convince them not to buy it yet? What's wrong with you? Because I just want to make sure na hindi
Yeah, of
sila
course. You don't want
nabibigla.
them to come back. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like,
Yeah.
it's a bag. Oh, I
That's
don't
very
want it
important.
pala.
Yeah. That's
Ayoko
very
pala.
important to actually,
Solo ko.
ask them talaga kung ano, if they're really, that's what they want or napupwesto sila or something like that,
Mhm.
Or, ate, baka mamaya magkaroon ka ng buyer's remorse or something like
Oo,
that,
oo, 'di ba?
So,
Mawawala 'yan, mawawala yung earnest
right.
money mo, pati ano. No,
Yeah.
they were very, they said, "No, no, actually we really like it na. Naku, thank you very much." I go, "Oh, okay. You sure? You sure?" And they're laughing at me, you know.
Right.
And then and also, you want to have a realtor that really cares about you. I
Of course.
know everybody wants to have a big house. I know
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants the brand new house. But and some of them will try and push their limit,
Mm-hmm.
na okay, I'm gonna buy this even though it's kind of tight. I'm gonna do a double job. How long can you do a double job? So most of the time, maybe some of the realtors that's listening right now will say, oh, ang tanga-tanga naman ito ni Ate Jen. Ano ba to? Imbis na makabenta na ng malaki o ganito, sinasabihan pa yung client. Just because, especially our culture, we want to make sure that they keep the house,
Of course.
and when your client is happy, matuto na maiisip nila, oh, hindi pala siya sa commission lang. By all
Yeah.
means, I want to sell you $1 million house.
Right.
But
Of
if your
course.
budget is 500,000, you don't need to kill yourself working 2, 3, dalawa kayo mag-asawa, pareho kayo magdo-double job para maabot niyo yung 1 million. How
Yeah.
long? It's a 30-year note. You gotta
Yes.
understand, it's a 30-year note. So, gaano kayo katagal magtatrabaho, di ba? You can
Mm-hmm.
always, even my son, ma, gusto ko 3-car garage, ma, gusto ko ganito. Diyos ko, anak, it's not gonna be your first and last house. Sabi niya, hindi, ito na ang una, tsaka huli kong bahay. Guess what?
Right.
He bought his house a year and a half ago. Now, it's sold
He
because
wants
he's
to
buying,
upgrade.
a newer house. That's what I said. It's
Right.
it's always easier to upgrade and keep your life, your normal lifestyle na hindi
Right.
kayo because pag nangyari nandiyan na yan masisira lahat,
Mm-hmm.
everything will catapult and stuff. So it's very
Yeah.
important. Yeah. Let me just say hello to some of our listeners. So ang dami na, naku, mamaya ko ano yung iba. Herrera Carion, hello. Michael Jabra, Mr. Macho, Kuya Art, hello, hello. Frey Munoz, D. Shong, okay. Hi Marie, hello, hello. Raul, Tita Carol Hernandez Nevera, hello, hello po. Of course, Ari said hello mga ate ganda. And of course, Nanay Estefania. Solly is watching from California. Mary Ann
I
Gallardo, hello,
saw.
hello. Yeah,
I know
Bobby
she was the one who
Chavez.
told me.
Oh, he's the one that told you. What
She told
happened?
me about having a talk about your experience about taking my in-laws or my
Ah.
my kids to the wrong
Uh-huh.
house.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, Lorna. How are you? Christy. Hi, Tantay. Hi, Sis Juvie. And Michael, Steven, Dondi, Allison. My God, JR. Hello. Ate Gina Lakay, my beautiful cousin dentist from the Dentist of the Star. Yan. Hello, hello. Raymond Wing. Ate Cecile, #1 sa PFA right now in our team. Sa ating magkano kinita? 38,000, my golly. I think I'm in
Wow.
I'm in the right business then. Pero anyway, Bernadette, hello. Hi, Malen. Soto. Oh, Ate Heidi, our leader, is watching. Hi, Ate Heidi. Hi, Kuya Noel. Also my client. A lot more. I will say hello to the rest later on. Ang dami-dami pa nito. Okay. So, ito. Sige na nga, tapusin na natin. Nagkakaway yung iba.
Yeah.
Richard, Mary Ann, Ernie, Mila is also one of our friends who's a realtor. That's one more thing. Please, pare-pareho tayong realtor. There's 20 plus thousand realtors here in Las Vegas. Please be nice to one another because you got to understand there's a buyer and the seller side.
The seller.
Okay.
We definitely work together at one point.
Exactly. One way or the other, one point or the other, we're going to be working with each other. And
Yes.
if you have a reputation that is not good, do you really want to work with that person? Of course not. Because you know it's going to be a pain in the butt to work with that person. There's going to be a lot of problems. So why? So please be nice to one another. There's plenty of fish in the ocean, like what we said. Don't need to badmouth somebody. No need to steal somebody's listing or whatever, or buyer. Please, magpakabait naman kayo. Please be fair, diba? Mami Alice
Tama.
is watching.
ethical.
Hi. Yeah, yep, exactly. Hi, Miriam. Hi, paring Derek, Ate Mama Z. Hello, hello. So, yan, Ernie, Mary Ann, Richard. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And Ate Flora, of course, is watching. The better half of Kuya Yo, diba? So anyway, yep. So anyway, so yeah, those are the pointers that we want to let people know.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to ask if you can qualify or not. Worst case scenario, you're not expecting to qualify anyway, so you're okay. But what happened is, if you're working with a realtor and then we try to pre-approve you, pre-qual you, then we know what to do. We have some clients that has, believe it or not, less like 540, I believe, the credit score, which of course you cannot buy a house. It doesn't matter how much down payment you have. But we know what to do with the credit. Of course, we're not the credit fixer or anything, but the lender was able to refer that person to somebody that can help them build their credit up. Within 6 months, they were able to buy a house with no down payments. It's simple as that. Some situation you just need to pay down your credits. Some incidents that you just need to have a co-signer. Or you can just add, there's a lot of things that can be done depending on the situation. But like I said, you won't know until you ask, a realtor to go ahead and help you. That's basically it. Credit score does matter, but not really. The first time home buyer or no down payment is a program that is not only for first time home buyer. If you haven't owned your home in the there's a lot of things. Hindi kailangan na first time home buyer. Pwedeng nabenta mo na yung bahay mo before and you're buying your home again right now. So things like that. Maraming. And then there's a lot of program for our veterans, for our teachers, for our frontliners. There's a lot of things. And you got to understand, you only need the down payment most of the time. Although right now it's a seller's market, we've seen in the past when it's a buyer's market that they even contribute on the closing costs, half and sometimes the full closing costs of the buyer. So there's a lot of things. Just ask, just consult your, your realtor. And so that they can protect you, and then you are in your way of buying a house, diba? Yun ang mga isang pointers natin sa ating mga buyer.
Sometimes when you connect them to a lender, yung ibang lender, they also have a department where they can help them fix their credit without you don't have to pay. They're free.
Exactly.
If you register them and get them, started with them, and they can actually guide you on how to what to do with your credit, and either like you said, pay down or maybe sometimes they can also teach you to write a letter. If, for example, you have a glitch on your credit and somebody charge you with something that doesn't belong to you, how do you get that out of your credit, right? So there's a way to fix that. There's a lender that has that type of department where they can actually, work with you on that. So there's a lot of solutions, to in purchasing a home. I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer. So.
Mhm. And they have some question too. Magkano ba ang kailangan ko? Baka kailangan ko ng, sobrang laki na down payment and things like that. Rule of thumb is it's about okay, if it's a FHA loan, it is 3.5%. So meaning kung 300,000 ang bahay, kung 300,000 ang bahay, so ang down payment mo is times 3.5%, of course, 10,500. And around 3% again for the for the closing costs. Yeah, yun ang rule of thumb. And they have to understand too, merong around $1,000 for they have to have on hand for the inspection and for the appraisal. So usually on rule of thumb, if it's a FHA, 3.5% down payment. If it's conventional, 3% down payment. If it's a second home, vacation home. Okay, there's another misconception of people who's buying from out of state. And if they don't own a home. So akala nila because they don't own a home, for example, in California, they're trying to buy a home here in Las Vegas. It's their first home. That is not the case, because the rule of the first home is you're gonna live at that house, and at the same time, wherever your income is coming from or where you file your tax, that it means it's California, that is your primary residence, whether you own a house or not. So basically, if you're buying a home here in Las Vegas, even though you don't own a house where you live, where you work, it is considered second home or vacation home. And that will be 10%. That's a conventional loan, and it's a 10% down payment. Now, if it's an investment, the down payment is 20%. So even though per se, hindi naman investment, sa halimbawa na lang para sa anak mo, you cannot prove that it's for your kid. If you already own a house and you already own a second home or vacation home and you want a third home, basically, alam mo naman tayong mga Asian, ibibigay ko sa anak ko, para sa anak ko yan. Anak ko ang mag-uupa dyan o magbabayad dyan. Unfortunately, it's still considered as an investment. So the down payment is going to be 20%. So those are the things that just, and of course, depende pa rin sa situation. Maybe the lender has a different way of, the qualification. Of course, we are not the lender.
Yeah,
so this is just some of the stuff that we encounter on a normal, regular basis. There's still, like I said, it's not a cookie cutter. It can still be different for each situation. So yun, diba? Yeah.
Tama. Sometimes, ibang mga lender, they require 30% if it's your second home or if you're, investment property. For example, if you live outside Nevada, I have a client before that looking for a second home as a vacation home here in Nevada. And when I connected them to a lender, they said that they needed to come up with a 30% down. So, again, it depends on the lender that you're working with. So those are just a rule of thumb of, that can happen in a transaction.
Yeah. And of course, since the interest rate is still low, please check with your realtor or your lender and see if it's worth refinancing. Because especially ngayon, maraming tao na wala ng trabaho or very limited ang hours of work, it will help. A rule of thumb, if the interest rate is not going to go down more than 1%, it is not worth it, because you have to understand you still have to pay closing costs to it. Okay, so please be careful too. Again, I'm sorry I have to say this. I don't know if I'm gonna get shot at, but not all lenders are honest. Of course, they want to make the business, so they don't explain to you na, it's not worth it. na mag-refi because it's only half a point, it's only
Mhm.
0.75 points, and you're gonna pay more on the closing costs and things like that. So please, ano rin, do your due diligence. Ask two, three lenders and compare. More likely it's going to be different, believe it or not, even though
Mhm.
it's the same, they have the same guidelines of qualification. You're going to find out that the end numbers is different, you know. So
Okay.
just be careful on that one. If you're going to ask me if it's still good to buy a house, if you have, let's say, 20, 30,000 laying on in the bank that is not making, you know, good interest and anything like that, that you can live without for a year or two, I would suggest yes. I would say yes, because what will happen is you're gonna buy a home that is standing. It's not gonna go away. It's an asset.
Mhm.
So basically, you pay 20,000, you know, for a 300,000 house. That's, you know, the down payment and the closing costs, and somebody will
Mhm.
be paying your mortgage. So basically, yun lang ang expenses nyo. Most of the
Mhm.
time, of course, you know, give and take if there's some repairs or anything. But where can you find an investment na maglalagay ka ng 20,000, you get a house. So even if the market crash, unless you sell it when the market crash, which I don't see anytime soon. It'll probably, it goes up and down, of course. And of course, I don't have a crystal
Mhm.
ball in front of me that can predict that. But still, 20,000 so is, you put, like, pretending you put it in a bank, which is your own bank because you're going to benefit from it. You put 20,000, somebody's paying for your mortgage. The, you know, sooner or later, you know, whether the market went down or not, it's an 8-year, 9-year itch that it goes up and down anyway. You're still going to get your money back of 20,000 plus the equity, whatever it is. And, you
Mhm.
know, and worst case scenario, you can hand it down to your kids, you know, when they're ready. So that's just one of the, you know, just one suggestion that we give, because right now we're seeing a lot of investors. I got an investor right now from New York that made a cash offer. Come to find out, they're buying three three houses in the same neighborhood, in the same complex, right?
Buyers are
Because
out there.
though,
Yes.
yeah, those investors are not stupid. Those investors know what they're doing. If they are buying two, three houses in this, you know, right now, why do you think they're doing that? Because it's an opportunity to make money. So just, you know, just do that.
Agree.
But, you know, just, of course, still do your due diligence. Don't, you know, sabi nga nila, wag mong akapin ang hindi mo kayang akapin. If it's gonna make your life harder na pipilitin mo, don't do that. Don't do that to
Mhm.
yourself. But if you can and you're able, I suggest it's a good investment. It's a good investment. What do you think, Manang?
I think so. I think it's a very good investment. You know, doing real estate right now is a win-win. So, you know, I mean, if you have it and you're ready, and you know, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I envision this whole thing. I mean, a lot of you, a lot of some of my clients actually are on the fence
Mm-hmm.
because they thought, nah, oh, it's a pandemic, you know, and I think the prices of the house is gonna go down, and you know, is there a recession coming up? You know, I mean, all those questions come up, diba? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and look around you. What's going on here in Nevada? All you see is building going up or community being built. So I mean, it doesn't seem like, you know, it's gonna slow down at all. I mean, even, you know, even with you know, with this thing happening right now with this pandemic, you know, I mean, you know, people are just out there buying and building, and you know, we have a short, you know, we have a short supply of homes right now, you know,
Yep.
listings. So, you know, by the way, I wanted you to touch on you know, what people are going with, well, a problem with people that refinancing right now. I mean, I know you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned something earlier that, you know, a situation where somebody that, of course, they lost their job and they actually on forbearance. How are they going to take advantage of refinancing if they're in that situation?
You mean if they can refinance if they're on forbearance? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
I'm asking.
Okay. Again, I'm not a lender. I'm not an expert.
Yes, of course
but
not. Yeah.
with the situation that I encounter, that the same guy that refi from 4.875 down to 2.875, he did a forbearance for 3 months. So, what we encountered was you cannot do a refi unless what they did, I believe, is they did he has to pay. He has to pay that 3 months that he wasn't able to pay on his mortgage before he can avail the forbearance. I mean the refi.
Okay.
Mhm,
So
the
he has to
refi.
get caught up first
He
before
has
can
to,
refi.
yeah, he
So that
has
makes
to
sense.
get caught up. And you
Right.
got to be careful too with those forbearance because each lender is different. What I found out, some lender will after they lift that ordinance of the forbearance or whatever they call some depending on the lending company, um, some of them will require you to pay it right away the following month once it's lifted. Some lender will put it at the back end of the contract.
Okay.
Some of
So there
them
are solutions out there.
there are solutions. Again
Okay.
and again, ask the proper people. If your realtor cannot answer that, of course, I'm sure that they have a lender that they work with that can help you with that. If you have questions regarding title, the title company again can answer that. If you're not sure, of course, we're always trying to be cautious. Who we ask 2-3 lenders or ask 2-3 realtors. You know, there you'll find out who is right and who is wrong because they have to connect you with the proper person. If somebody just tells you, like for example, if I tell you, oh no, I can take care of that, or even though it's a lender's question and everything like that, then that's not the right person for you. If somebody do that, because we are realtors, our job is to protect you because of the contract. We pretty much know the contract. We can read the contract to protect you as a buyer, or we can protect the seller of any possible problem later on. We can find you a house, we can sell you a house. That's basically our expertise. Anything about lending, financing, that's the job of a lender. That's why they're licensed for it. If it's about title company on changing, make sure that the titles is clear. There's no lien on the thing. If you want to know the history of that, then title company can help you with that. So it's always good to know that you have the right representation in anything that you do, because this is a big purchase I think this is the big purchase that you can ever do in your entire life, and that's for that's for your family. So that's basically our take on that one. And somebody's waving again. Hi, Sis May. Hello, and Sis Honey. Hello, from California. So yeah. So is there anybody that you want to greet? Oh, wait a minute. I want to greet you, Manang. It's almost your birthday. Happy birthday! It's your birthday
Thank
month.
you.
Oh
my
happy
goodness.
birthday.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know. It's
So
always good to celebrate,
yeah, every day, every time
Every
we wake
day.
up, it's a
Exactly.
celebration. You will have to be thankful. Yay! Ang galing ni Kuya Yo.
Thank you.
Ang galing ni Kuya Yo. Yeah. Is there anybody you want to say hello? I'm pretty sure they can watch this over and over again. Of course, it's on our PHLV app. Go ahead, Manang. Say hello to Kuya June and everybody, Narisa, everybody, anybody.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
hello to my family in Cali. I know I'm supposed to be there this weekend, but I know I'm not gonna make it. So I just want to say hello, everybody. I'll be
Yeah.
there in 2-3 weeks. Before
In
Thanksgiving.
two, yeah, in 2, 3.
Oh,
Well, this week,
two,
yeah, two
more like
weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. That would be fast. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, time
Yep,
flies.
exactly.
Time flies.
Yeah, I know your
Exactly.
schedule.
Yes, I know. You should know my schedule. I know your schedule. Well, I don't know if I
And
know your
yeah,
schedule, but
yeah, you pretty much know my
I have a lot of
schedule too.
sporadic things. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, hi, Jose Rojas. He just joined us too. So yeah, so
Oh,
those are the things that what else? So those are the things that we just want to emphasize on our listeners, because I know some people will say, Ate, you keep on talking about something else, or talking about business, or talking about that. Give us some input again, remind us again what we should and should not know. Again, of course, I'm not 100% expert on that one, but basically what we told you, what me and Manang Nancy told you, are based from our experience and the encounters we had with on our own contracts. The most important thing, you ask your agent, ask an agent, licensed agent, to go ahead and help you to sell your house and to buy a house. Yeah, so things like that, right? And
right.
it's already 7:05. We
Fine.
passed our time. Or 8:05.
Yay.
7:05 starting again. Anyway, Manang, thank you again as
Well,
always.
thank you for
You
having
know,
me. It's always fun to
thank
chat with
you.
you.
Of course,
Thank
like we
you.
don't every day, right?
Right?
Next
We
time we're
text,
gonna
we
have
chat, we
yeah, next
Facebook, we
yeah, we
Instagram,
eat, we eat and
everything.
eat. We eat and eat every day. Yeah. So anyway, what else can I say? Okay. Oh, we have a couple of announcements. Jaminom, Jaminom, Jaminom. That's what we're gonna have. Kuya Yo, where is our flyer? We gonna know. Yeah. So we're gonna have Jaminom on November. Let's see. Let's see that. November 14th, Saturday, from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Of course, please wear a face mask. That's still required. They're gonna have it at Dance Stars Cafe at 1399 South Jones Boulevard in Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course, we're gonna have our great bands gonna be collaborating again. The Adelphas, of course, One Car Garage of Kuya J. We're gonna have Leo there. We're gonna have the heroes of the day. We're gonna have, hold on, pasensya na ha, matanda na si Ate Jo. Hindi ko makita ang link. We have Nino novels, okay, and Elmer De Leon, Najid Sounds. Of course, I said it, Leo Be Strong. So yeah, so they're gonna have the Jaminum Rock 3, Las Vegas, Nevada. Leo's Tavern Production. Yeah. And then we're also going to have our friend, the president of the what you call this? Bukid nun tuloy. Not Bicol, no, Bukid nun. Bicol nun. Kuya, sorry, minarder ko yung iyong town. Okay. Ano ni Kuya Yo yan eh. For donations for the Bikolnon Association of Las Vegas relief efforts for those affected by Super Typhoon Rolly in Bicol, send them to Bikolnon Association of Las Vegas at 3437 Lonesome Drum Street, North Las Vegas. Ito po ay tulong ng President ng Bikolnon Associations for the Bicolanos na naapektuhan ng typhoon. So if you have any donation, any amount will do. Again, send it to 3437 Lonesome Drum Street in North Las Vegas. Guys, thank you once again for joining me. I think next week baka nasa studio na tayo. Medyo may konting held back, so they have to sanitize. Yes, Kuya Yo. Thank you, Kuya Yo. Thank you, Manang Nancy.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you, guys. Be safe. Still wear a mask, please. Mask. Bye.
Do you know your home's value? Are you thinking of selling your home and you're curious what the current estimated value is, contact Jennifer Genco for a free, no-obligation estimate. Jennifer Genco from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Nevada. Call 702-444-8958 or visit www.jenniferco.bhhsnv.com. Email jenniferk@bhhsnv.com.
Magbabalik next week ang kwentuhan tungkol sa bahay, negosyo at iba pa. Kasama ang inyong singing realtor, Jen Co. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. on PHLV Radio. Hatid sa inyo ng Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Nevada.
Mga kababayan in Las Vegas,
It's finally here. This is where PH
the Philippines,
meets LV.
Las Vegas.
PHLV. Now, listen to what makes you, you. PHLV. News, entertainment, and lifestyle features. Live broadcast from your favorite Pinoy hangouts in Las Vegas. Most of all, listen to your Kuya,
Tito,
Tita,
Tay,
Nay. Tayong mga Pinoy, we now have a radio station. Home to the fastest growing Filipino-American population in the United States. Nevada welcomes PHLV Radio.
PHLV Radio.
Pinoy's in Las Vegas, makinig na! Follow PHLV Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or listen to us on phlvradio.com. Or download the app from the App Store and Google Play.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.
PHLV.